Hey everyone, this is Mel, and welcome to another video for Petrichor Soap Company. Today I have a bunch of soaps that I need to get wrapped for a wholesale order, so I thought I'd bring you along for that. I'm going to try to upload a video every week, but I don't have a lot to do on a weekly basis often, so we'll see if I have enough interesting things to share with you guys. But for now, this week I do have something to share with you all. And I'm gonna get these labels cut up. So I just print my labels on some parchment cotton content paper, and I have a laser printer, and I designed my labels in Adobe Illustrator, which is a paid program, and there are programs out there that will do similar things for free, but I'm the most used to working with Illustrator, and it does what I needed to do, and for me it's worth it to pay for it. But yeah, it's not a cheap program, and it's definitely not something that you need if you're just starting out. I just actually got Adobe Premiere Pro to edit these videos. So there's 3 programs from Adobe that I use. I use Illustrator for my labels. I use Lightroom for my photo editing, and then Premiere Pro for my video editing for the YouTube channel. And I am not a professional with any of those programs. Everything I know I've taught myself just by Googling it. So sometimes it requires a lot of patience, and if I am running out of patience, I'll just put something aside for a while and come back to it later. But yeah, I just use paper labels for now. It'd be nice to have some adhesive labels, but I don't mind this. And they're nice, you can just throw them in the recycle bin. That was a goal with my packaging. I wanted something that was plastic free. And the wrappers that I use, which I will show you in a moment, are paper with a soy-based coating on one side. So they are compostable, whereas a lot of papers like parchment paper and freezer paper, they often have a plastic component to them that makes them not compostable. But there we go. Again, sorry if you hear me sneeze, or not sneeze, but sniff. I've explained in previous videos that I have chronic sinus issues. So if that's something that bothers you, I'm sorry, I'm not sick. Just a sniffly girl. especially when I'm filming these videos, unfortunately, because I'm looking down the whole time. And that just makes my nose want to run. So, just being real with everybody. So this is the paper that I use. This is going to be backwards on camera because I use my phone to film. But this is a EcoCraft interfolded deli paper 016010. And I actually cut these in half. So, I mean, a box of these goes for a pretty long way. I've only bought one box so far since the beginning of my business. And I'm still working on it. I think I'm going to have to get a new one soon. The reason why I like this deli paper is because there are oils and soap that can leach into paper. And this just has that little bit of protective coating on it to keep that from happening. So I'm wrapping up 2 soaps today. This one is our black chamomile soap, but the wholesaler that I sell this to sells them as Leduc Black Gold. So they've got a few of these bars. I guess they've been selling well, which is great. Always good to hear. Chamomile Noir is a really nice, rich, sort of almost neutral, like gender neutral fragrance to it. Coconut water, chamomile tea, water lilies. I really enjoy it, and a lot of customers really like this one too. Colored with charcoal and some black oxide to get that really nice deep color. It's got a gold mica drizzle and chamomile flowers from my garden, and it's got a gold mica pencil line down the middle as well. I'm pretty proud of this bar and the design. It's definitely one of my favorites. So wrapping soaps takes me quite a while, and everyone does this a little bit different, and there are certainly faster, probably better ways to wrap your soap, but this is what's working for me right now. If I grow, then I will definitely look at something that's a little bit easier for me, or quicker, certainly, because your time is money, and every bit that you spend, you know, doing a task like this gets added into the cost of what you're selling. So it's important to be mindful of that with the things that you're doing. When you're just starting out, your bottom line is typically not as important, especially because you're usually doing this as a hobby. You've got a full-time job. But as you look at progressing into a more full-time business, you need to start paying better attention to things like margin and your labor costs and how much your time is worth. It doesn't hurt to get into those habits early on. I am pretty bad about calculating the cost of labor into my soaps, but I did just recently have to put my prices up, as with a lot of things sort of in this post-pandemic recession world. the cost of raw materials has just skyrocketed, and it's just becoming unfeasible, unfortunately, to keep selling my products at the prices they were at before. And I definitely wasn't accounting for labor charge. I still probably don't really, even at the price things are at now. But you can only ask people to pay so much for a bar of soap. But you should be confident that your product is worth what it's worth. And people are not only paying for your product, they're paying for your designs and your skill. And that's what a lot of makers sort of sell themselves short on. It doesn't stop at just the cost of the materials. There's a lot of other factors that go into determining the value of a handmade product. And there will always be someone out there for your price point. My bars are a little bigger as well. I like them to sit at around the 140 gram mark or higher. Even though I sell them as 140 grams, I like them to be above or at that. And a lot of handmade soaps on the market go for about 120 grams or less. And there's really a lot of quality ingredients that go into my bars. You know, like olive oil, coconut oil, unrefined shea butter. I could source those at a lower price point, but the integrity of the ingredients, the sourcing, those are all important to me, which drives the prices a little bit higher. Usually when I'm doing something like this, I'll have a show going in the background, and it's usually Bob's Burgers, to be honest. I'm not sure if you're a fan of the show. If you've never checked it out, I highly recommend it. I think I'm on my third watch through all of the seasons. It's just something comforting to have on as background noise. Because, you know, if you've watched something enough times, you don't necessarily have to pay attention to it. You kind of know what's going on. But no show's going today, and the window's closed so that the neighbors don't hear me and think that I have completely lost my mind and am now talking to myself. So I'd like to keep this bar as one of my standard range, but I might not. I might just keep it for this wholesale client once I sell out of it in the store, and maybe just bring it back for some limited releases. I'm still sort of learning what people do and don't like from the designs that I'm making. And that's kind of important. You can't rely on everyone else's experiences for what does and doesn't sell for them, because they could be in completely different areas of the world, have different customer base. So the more you put yourself out there, the more you're gonna kind of figure out those things that your customers like. And some things they might like that you really don't like. A lot of people tend to be fans of the like black raspberry vanilla scent, and it's one of the scents that I just actually really don't like. I'm not sure why. I think it's just it's too much. It hits me too hard. I am a little bit sensitive. Not a little bit sensitive, a lot of bit sensitive to smells. That plays a factor with the sinus issues and all the sniffling. So it's definitely valuable for me to have things like an unscented soap, which I do. I just added that to the shop today. Our new unscented oat milk bar, which is beautiful. I love unscented soaps so much. And even unscented soaps have their own scent. Oats, when you put them into cold processed soap, kind of get this almost caramelized note to them. And soap itself has a soap smell, which is sort of odd to describe, but if you ever get the chance to smell a unscented bar of soap, you will definitely notice that it has a distinct scent all on its own. So I don't know what you guys have been watching lately. I finished a few things off. The new season of Glow Up, which I am such a fan of that series. It's so absurd and the judges are just so over the top, but I love makeup. I don't love wearing makeup, but I love watching people do makeup, and just the art that they produce. It's just a fun show to watch. I like low stakes competitions like Glow Up and Great British Bake Off and Canadian, whatever they call the Canadian version, Canadian baking show, I think. Those are just fun to watch. I like shows that aren't stressful. I have enough stress in my life. I don't want to be stressed out in my spare time. So I finished that off, and then we just finished off the latest season of Westworld, which was absolutely phenomenal. I think soon we're probably gonna just sit down and watch all of it from the beginning again. I think there's a lot that was referenced in the last season that you might have, forgotten or missed if you hadn't watched all of it or done a recap recently. But I mean, I can't say enough about Westworld. If you're a fan of the genre, sort of dystopian future, cyberpunk, AI, and all the philosophies that go around that, you'll definitely, I can't recommend it enough. The acting's phenomenal, the music, outstanding, same composer as Game of Thrones. It's just great. So go watch it if you haven't. Just love, love, love it. So to put these paper labels on, I just use water-based glue. So that if you do put these in the recycle or compost or what have you, there's no issues there. Again, trying to stay away from tape. I'm not, my philosophy as a business is not to be completely plastic free. I use plastic for my lip balms. I tried other packaging in the beginning and I just couldn't find something that worked for me the way that I wanted and the way that the plastic ones worked. So, and there's some things that I think you run a lot of risk when you use like something like glass instead of plastic. The reason why plastic is so prevalent in bath and body care is because it's safe, and you can run into a lot of issues if you drop a jar or what have you in the shower or the bathroom. Of course, you as a consumer take on that responsibility when you buy a product that's in a glass jar, but there's just some things that in good conscience I would like to avoid. And there are plastics out there that are recycled. Manufacturers that make their plastics out of recycled material. And those plastics then can be recycled through municipal programs, and well, at least in Leduc. Those kinds of plastics can be put into our recycling, which is good. It's something at least. So I try to stay away from plastic where I can, and in other areas at least try to use plastics that can be recycled or repurposed. Really just trying to make certain changes or certain commitments that help lower your footprint if it can't be 100% perfect all the time. I've looked at the, I think it's Bioelfin, don't quote me on that, the biodegradable heat shrink plastic. There's something about wrapping your product up in plastic that I don't like. And if you do it, I'm sorry, it's a great thing, especially you know, sanitation wise. I totally get it. I don't like people being able to necessarily touch the product. That's why I like to wrap it up. It's just something personally that I don't always enjoy the look of. But everybody's got a different thing that works for them. And whatever works for you is honestly the only thing that matters. In any small business, you have to stay in your lane. That's kind of my philosophy for life. Stay in your lane. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Just put yourself out there. Do your own thing. And do what makes you happy. That's at least what I try to adhere to. I'm not gonna say I'm perfect. I definitely compare myself to others when I'm not having a great day. But you can acknowledge that voice and redirect it into something that serves you better. So here's what they look like wrapped up. Again, this is going to be backwards because whenever I film in selfie mode, so I can actually see what I'm doing. We just have a little handmade in Alberta on the side here. And then my little tree logo on that side. And then we've got ingredients and the website and a little disclaimer about black soaps, dark soaps on the other side. So, you know, in testing these bars and using them myself, I found charcoal soaps definitely leave like residue behind in the bath on the tub. It's nothing that stains. It absolutely just either rinses or wipes away. But it's definitely gonna deposit some color when you put this much to get a soap this dark. Or if you're using like a white washcloth or something like that, you'll definitely see the color on the linens. So I figure it's important for people to realize that. But it doesn't stain your body at all, nothing like that. Charcoal itself has a really nice kind of mild exfoliation to it. And some people claim it has detoxifying abilities. I've said before that the only thing I can claim with soap is that it will clean you, and it will absolutely do that. The rest is up for you to enjoy and discover on your own. It doesn't take too long once you kind of get into a groove. Do it assembly line style. That's why I like to get them all wrapped up first. And then just worry about getting the labels on. It's a beautiful, beautiful day out right now. I film in my kitchen and I can look out into my backyard. It looks windy, but the sun's out. A bit of a chill in the air as fall gets closer. We had a thunderstorm last night, which was very odd for September. It's been odd weather all around the world, I think. And but today's a nice day and I'll take it. No frost warnings yet, so my garden's hanging in there. I still have some things that I'm waiting to harvest, like carrots and beets, and I hope I get another feed of beans. We just had one the other night. It was so good. They were so sweet and buttery. It's like string beans, pole beans. One of our favorite things to grow. Gardening is definitely my other hobby, my other main hobby. And it's been so much fun to be able to put a garden in this year. I spent a lot of time digging out beds on the west side of the house. And I'm sort of still shaping what I want the garden to look like. It's kind of exciting every year for it to grow and look a little bit different. And my mom came out in early spring and helped with a lot of it, so that was really great and awesome that we have that memory of doing that together. And there's a lot that I'd like to get out and do. It's just been so hot. We just came out of a heat wave and now it's fall. So hopefully I'll get some time to get out there and do a little bit more. I think I'd like to set up some no-dig beds, which if you're not familiar with no-dig gardening, I think that's a whole subject for you to get into. I would highly recommend you YouTube it or Google it if you're interested, but basically put something down like a cardboard or newspaper over your lawn and then put layers of compost down over that, and then it sort of conditions the soil for you to be able to plant into without having to go the effort of digging out a bunch of sod, which I did this summer and spring, and it was exhausting. If you guys ever want to have a peek at my garden, then let me know. I'll definitely walk a camera through it sometime. Right now it's, you know, getting towards the end. It's pretty overgrown. Some things are petering out. But maybe I can still take a walk through there sometime. Alright, got 3 more to go. This does get pretty zen when you get into it. So I usually like to have some background noise going. These bars are going to Magpies collection in Leduc. They are just downtown, a phenomenal coffee shop and gift shop. If you haven't been in there, I highly, highly recommend it. Their cinnamon buns are so good, and I'm going to be getting a couple when I go down on Saturday to drop these off. But it's a great little shop. I am super, super grateful to be partnered with them, and they carry a couple of my bars. This first one, the chamomile noir, which is, like I said, goes under Leduc black gold, and the other one, which I will show you in just a second here. Alright, so that's it for those. I'm going to take a quick break and I will come back to wrap the rest. Alright, so the next bar up is the Alberta Wild Rose bar, which is actually a bar that I make exclusively for the Magpies collection in Leduc. This is such a beautiful bar. It's got a French pink clay, a cocoa powder line, rose petals on top, and the scent is just a really nice fresh cut rose scent. So not as sort of perfumey as other roses that you'll find, more on the floral natural side of a rose, which was important to me because that's what I like. So it's got a little bit of those green notes in it to ground it. So if you want to check out this bar, the only place to get it is to head down to the Magpies collection. And it was really fun to make this bar for them. And I definitely love working with businesses. If there's a vision or a scent or a design that you see for your business and would like me to help bring to life, I would definitely love to do that with you. And that can either come, you know, private label, which would mean that you, as a business, label and register all of the recipes with the Canadian government yourself, or it would come with my branding, which is what I do for them. But either way, I love the smell of this soap. I love having it on the shelves curing because it makes the whole house smell like roses. I'm not sure what your guys' favorite scents are for, you know, body care or candles or anything really. My favorites are definitely citrus, and then herbal smells like lavender, rosemary, I also really like, you know, mints, clean smells. I'm not so big myself on sweet candy scents, but you know, give me anything with citrus and lavender in it, I'm all over it. I think they say for, you know, if you're starting a business that deals with different scents, that you want to have a floral, you want to have a citrus, you want to have typically something in the bakery, sweet, family of scents. Sometimes that's hard for making soap because a lot of the fragrance oils that are for bakery scents have what's called vanillin in them, and vanillin will make your soap turn very, very brown, dark brown. And that's okay for some soaps, but not typically what you're going for. Like, especially if you'd love to make a funfetti, like birthday cake soap with beautiful white soap and colorful sprinkles, that soap is going to turn brown, and you're going to have rainbow sprinkles in brown soap. So it's always interesting to try to come up with creative ideas to either combat that or work with it. There are such things as vanillin stabilizers that are supposed to help and keep or prevent that from happening. I don't use them myself. I have no experience with them. No idea if they actually work. So I will either buy a fragrance oil knowing that it's going to do that and alter my design accordingly, or I will just stay away from them. And sometimes fragrance oils will do funky things to you, even if they say they don't have vanillin in them. You kind of have to rely on the reviews of other makers, and then always test something out yourself as well, because every soap maker's recipe is a little bit different, and some will say that a fragrance oil works great for them, no acceleration, no discoloration, and then you'll get it home, put it in your soap, and you'll get soap on a stick. So you always have to test things out, or at least make a small batch before you, you know, do up 16, 32, 48 bars of soap with a fragrance oil that you've never used before. Because it can lead to a lot of heartache if you lose that many oils, or you have to rebatch the soap, which can be a bit of a hassle, and it will never look as good as what you had originally intended if you have to rebatch. That's all just part of the process. I'm going to go drop these bars off on Saturday, which is today's Thursday. I think they still have some left, but after Saturday they'll be fully stocked up as well. And I am of course going to get myself a couple cinnamon buns. I think I already said that, but I'm really excited because cinnamon buns are awesome. And their cinnamon buns are awesome. They're they do them like in this really thin, like they roll the dough out really thin, so there's lots of layers, which equals more cinnamon, more sugar, more awesomeness. I'm really looking forward to it. And if they don't have any, then I guess I'll cry and get something else, because they have a lot of other really nice treats there. And the gift shop too is really sweet. They have so many things there. The last time I went, I got, let me go grab it. I got this spa day tea, and it's got butterfly pea flowers in it, so it turns like this really neat blue color. Kind of minty, a little bit fruity. Anyway, I really like it, and they have it there along with a whole bunch of others from that Tealish. Anyway, they have not only that, but a lot of other local makers, Alberta, Canada. So just some really neat things, especially as we're coming into the holiday season. I would highly recommend popping in there if you're in the area and check out what they have. We partner with a few stores at the moment. We just went out to Spruce Grove with Madge and Makers. That's really exciting. She has a really lovely shop out there as well. Again, lots of local makers, really cool stuff. And we are also out in Calmar at a little shop, the Cactus boutique. And also a really cute little shop. It's in the hair salon there. And a lot of really cool vendors with different stuff. There are so many talented people making things. I mean, all over the world. I'm just amazed at the creativity and skill with everything that people come up with. I mean, if there's something that you're good at, or not even good at, but something you want to get good at, by all means, start putting it out there in the world. When I started making soap, they did not look this nice. I didn't even take a picture of the first bar of soap I made because it was so bad. I didn't think that you needed to have a hard oil in there other than coconut oil, which is technically true. You can make soap with just olive oil, Castile soap, which is its own thing. But there is an art to making Castile soap, and it has to cure for, at least a year. So the first bar of soap I made was a lavender soap. It didn't thicken, like I couldn't get it to trace for the longest time. So I poured it into the mold. It was really runny. And then I put lavender buds on top, but they sunk into the soap because it was so runny, and they all turned brown and kind of spread out, like spread that brownness into the top of the soap. I really should have taken a picture just so that, I could show where I started and encourage people that, everything gets better with practice. But it was still soap, and we used it, and I learned a bunch from doing it, and that's where I started a long time ago in my tiny apartment kitchen in downtown Edmonton, which, man, I miss living in Oliver a lot sometimes. We had everything at our fingertips. I could walk across the street, and any kind of restaurant you could imagine. My favorite ramen shop was just across the street. Amazing donut shop. Now, my wallet and my waistline thank me for not having access to all of that, but I do miss it. I miss the food the most. from living in Edmonton. Leduc has some great places. Rural Roots, probably one of the best, and Habanero's one of the best. Like my top two for food out here. If you're looking for a place to go to dinner in Leduc, those were my top two. Habanero's being Mexican food. And Rural Roots is a brewery that does kind of comfort foods. Like, what did I have? I had a pork belly banh mi that was out of this world. I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, maybe there'll be a few pieces of pork belly in there and you know, whatever. But it was loaded with pork belly, super fresh, absolutely delicious. My wife always gets their chicken sandwich, which is, it looks phenomenal. I need to get it one of these days because I want to try it. It always looks so great. So I think the next time that we go there or order from them, that I'll pick up one of those. So I must be hungry because I'm thinking about food, talking about food. So as soon as I'm done this, it's probably time for dinner. But it has been fun to explore places in Leduc to go, you know, because we moved here during the pandemic. We really didn't get to go out and sort of engage with our community. That's something we're just starting to do now. And I'm kind of looking forward to continuing to build those networks and those relationships. I grew up in Devon. Well, I grew up all over Alberta, but I went to junior high and high school in Devon, and that's a town that is close to here. I'm gonna say maybe like half an hour drive away, maybe less than that. So I spent quite a bit of time in Leduc and in this area growing up, but not in the city itself. And both Devon and Leduc have changed so much since I was a kid. So it's been pretty fun to sort of just start discovering those things in our community. The more things have opened up. All right, that's the last one. Alberta Wild Rose, which is available, like I said, exclusively at Magpies collection in Leduc. I think the only other thing that I'm working on right now are testing out some candle wicks. I've got 3 here. I'm just waiting till tomorrow. I just poured them today. So I've got 3 different candle wicks. I had tested out some wood wicks, and you know what? I'm not a real big fan of the sound of wood wicks. I'm kind of sensitive to different kinds of sound, and I found that the crackling wasn't so much of an intermittent, like sitting by the fire crackling. It's more like a constant, almost radio crackle, white noise, and it wasn't really something I enjoyed. And they also left a lot of like soot and black charcoal in the wax itself, and maybe that's just because I'm not burning it correctly, but that was the smallest wick that they offered, and I tested it in this, I think this is 2.5 inch diameter vessel, and that's what they recommended for this. So again, it could be user error, but I wasn't really personally a fan, so I'm gonna go back to these cotton wicks, and I've got 3 sizes that I'm gonna be testing out and seeing how they burn. And then maybe finally we'll get on releasing some candles this year. That would be exciting. I'd like to have those ready for Christmas. So yeah, that's what I'm working on this week, and we'll catch up again next week. So thanks everyone for watching, and have a really great day.